We're getting a reaction.
Roy Kent. I know. I'm Roy Kent. Yeah. I'm Roy.
Let's see.
Remember how
We're here.
little.
Oh, thank you. Let's do that.
No, I'm right here. I'm good.
Okay.
Carmen or Laura, can one of y'all say hello so I can test the speaker?
Hello,
Oh, nope, not that one. All right, thank you. Hold on.
what?
No. Oh, I should probably put this in. That would help. So sorry.
That's the only loose cable I see.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Light.
Oh, I didn't bring this. I didn't.
Is it connecting?
Oh, you didn't?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, she's gonna send me the rest.
There you go.
Wasn't that amazing?
I'm gonna make
Okay,
tomato basil.
Can you get us now?
can you hear me?
Yes.
What?
We hear you. We hear you.
I want to hear it through here though, because that's. the
Oh, that's
microphone
where we
they
have
can
to hear
through
it. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Hang on, we're turning up the volume somewhere. Or connecting something. I don't know what we're doing.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
That is quite the invention.
Yeah, it is.
It's an apple.
Everything should be working now. I just need one of y'all to say hello again, please.
Hello, this is Laura. Can you hear me? Wait, did you hear me?
We hear you, Houston.
Thank you. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Okay. So everybody, thank you so much for joining for this first class of Ted Lasso. I just want to give you a kind of an overview of what's going to happen. We're going to cover an episode every week until with our last session being during Holy Week. So on March 27th, we will meet, and then we will take the next week off, and then beginning on April 8th. Yeah, April 8th, which is the second Sunday of Easter, we will begin again, but at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings, okay? And we will record and post it on our website underneath formation. It's underneath adult formation. You'll see the videos there, or you can find them on our YouTube page at St. Anne's. So
Are you recording this?
yes, this one is being recorded as we speak, so please know that anything and everything that you say will be captured because we're using the owl. And before we begin, the Lord be with you.
And also
with
With you.
Everlasting God, we pray today for those around us who do not know or understand your gift of grace. Give them unshakable curiosity about you, that they would begin to seek you more and more each day. Amen.
Amen.
Just a real quick show of hands, no judgment over here. Who has seen episode 1 from season 1? Oh my God, you did the homework.
Well, maybe a couple of years ago.
That's good.
Some of us might have binged out even.
That's good. I hope
But I
that,
did.
I mean, come on, if you're gonna binge something, we'll be good. So we gathered here on Monday night at 7 o'clock to watch the episode. And if you ever find yourself in dire straits and you're like, I can't find it, you can join us here at 7 o'clock during Lent. Okay. So we're gonna talk about season 1, episode 1. It's called The Pilot, New Ventures. And it starts, you find Ted Lasso asking Coach Beard this question. Are we nuts for doing this? And Coach Beard says, yes, this is nuts. And I'm just gonna read a little bit out of the book and then we'll get to some questions here in a moment, okay? So Coach Ted Lasso and Coach Beard board a flight from the United States to England to coach AFC Richmond, a Premier League football club. Neither of them has any experience coaching this sport as far as they are more accustomed to the American gridiron football. And Ted says in his first press conference, you could fill 2 internets with what I don't know about them. They are off to a new venture and journey, pushed and pulled by their innate desire to coach, mold, and inspire athletes to perform their best and become better humans along the way. And throughout this first episode, and actually throughout the first season, there are those who will consistently tell them that they are doing something monumentally mental. They're told they are out of their element and that they don't belong. Most of the time, those who share this opinion with them, especially to Ted, don't do so very yet Ted-like. But throughout the scriptures, there are moments, and plenty of them, where the brief exchange with Ted and Coach Beard that they share could be repeated among the faithful that God has chosen, guided, and choosing to come alongside out of love of Abraham and Sarah, Mary and Joseph, the disciples of Jesus. Are we nuts? Yes, yes, we are. So let's hold fast right there and say, what in the world are they doing? What do you think?
Stepping out in faith.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Going on a great adventure.
Adventure, that was the word that came up. Yeah.
Yep.
Going on a great adventure. Yep.
Ted is perfectly willing to be totally vulnerable
Yeah.
about
Everything.
what he doesn't know.
Right.
And his own foibles.
Mhm. Mhm.
I only came to one episode of being brave, but it reminded me of that.
Mm.
Yeah, there was a lot of dovetailing in that, right? Yeah. Now, have you ever felt called to do something mental?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About it. Tell me. If you don't mind sharing, and it's all recorded.
Can we define mental?
Yeah.
Mental is something like out of the ordinary, way out of your comfort zone, completely unexpected. And yeah, that's a good clarify. At least that is how I expect it. I'm reading it out of this scene. I jumped out of an airplane once
With a parachute.
with a parachute.
Oh,
Okay.
I did.
Had it taken off.
And a guy named Chuck was my tethered guy. He did all the hard work. All I had to do was fall.
Did he chuck you?
No, we egg rolled right out.
Oh,
And we had 6.5 hours between arriving and our plane taking off
Wow.
to walk around and ask each other, what are we doing? WTF? I mean,
Yeah.
and I went with a group of employees from Biltmore,
Mm.
and our managers put together a emergency job fair posting.
Oh,
All of our possessions.
Oh, no.
wow.
That was stuff right there.
Wow.
But yeah, there would have been that sense of, okay, what am I doing? Or am I doing something crazy? What, what?
Did you pack your own suit?
No, I did not. No, I did not. But, so the follow-up question is, well, what kept you moving? So if you've done something a lot outside of the unexpected, what kept you going? Yes. Alex.
When I stopped teaching, ended my high school teaching
Mhm.
and put Ann and me on as sacrificial lambs economically. I just knew where I didn't want to be.
Mm.
And I knew that I just had to keep looking forward. And at some point in time, I might know something, and that's what happened.
Mm.
I know that when I went to Dominica, oh my God, that was an adventure. And I even look at the videos of some of the things I did. And I think, no way
It
will
is
I
hell.
ever do that again. Jumping off of cliffs and moss covered
Oh, yeah.
boulders and stuff. But I remember thinking, wait a minute, I didn't sign me up for this. It was my son-in-law who did. And he just told me this was an adventure vacation.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, adventure, I like adventure. Well, I didn't realize the intensity of the adventure. And the thing that kept me going was, well, first of all, you rappelled down into the canyon. And then you had to jump off cliffs too, but when you're down there, there's no way out.
Yeah. Except.
That's a
except
motivator.
through.
So I had to go through. I had no
Yeah.
choice. Plus I had 2 grandkids who were very young well, one was almost a teenager, the other one was preteen, I mean, it was a teenager. And they were there looking at me like, come on, let's keep going. And so so I still get, my stomach gets in knots.
Thinking
of
about
that
it.
Experience. It was, yeah. Yeah.
I rappelled off the side of a building.
Was it for a fundraiser?
No, it
Okay.
was I think a team building thing, but it was when I was working at St. Anne's, school in Charlottesville. And I was a graduate assistant. I mean, a RA, there while I was in school. And I really am not sure, but I know I had at the time, my hair got caught in it.
Whoops.
So, I'm trying to get my hair, but I had to get to the bottom, so I had to keep going. So,
This is why you have short hair.
That's it.
I went to Outward Bound in '86,
Oh, wow.
and one of the things was to walk across a telephone pole that was 35 feet in the air.
Mhm.
Now, you were strapped on,
Yeah.
Right.
but the thing was, it was to your rear. And I made it about 3/4 of the way and got like this.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And the only thing I did wrong was I touched the back. That made me go the whole way across, but I touched the rope. And then I was fortunate enough to go with Jude's class to another ropes course somewhere. And they had another, bar across, very similar to what was at Linville Falls. And I went right straight across that one. I said to myself, I'm going across one. And when I didn't make it, I said, at some point in time, I'm gonna have an opportunity. And fortunately, I made it, so I feel a lot better. So I learned, and you will be able to go up and down those rocks better.
Oh, I'm not doing it again.
I'm not doing it again.
I am not.
Once was enough.
Yeah, once was enough.
We
Yeah.
did repelling blindfold,
No.
and that was, no, it was better. It really was.
Because
All
you
your
don't see
senses-
how far
You
down.
don't see how far you're scared, and all your senses come alive, all your other senses. It's just like, any person that loses one of their senses.
Yeah. That's
The
sort of
rest
like
of
Ted
them take
Lasso though. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
No, he doesn't.
And he's sort of blind. He's not really taking it all in.
And it's not just soccer that he doesn't know anything about. He doesn't know anything about the culture.
Right.
Which leads me to this next,
Groundwater.
it's exactly where we're going.
Are you
So
serious?
this heading is honesty and authenticity. Rebecca says, well, and Ted says, I always figured the tea would taste like hot brown water. You know what? I was right. It's horrible. No, thank you. So one of the things that's surprising about Ted is that he's incredibly honest. He tells you like it is with a smirk and a smile on his face. However, this isn't like how we've seen brutal, honest portrayed in other shows.
Excuse me, the sacristy is not on.
Okay, I'll take care of it. Thank you. It's not how it's normally portrayed in other shows, movies, or books. He isn't trying to be mean, demeaning, or sarcastic. He's just being honest, and even when what he's sharing isn't always the best news to share. When he agrees to take some tea from Rebecca, he already figures he isn't going to like it, but he tries it anyway. When she asks his opinion, he doesn't hold back. In the simplest ways, we see that Ted is an authentic person. He gives you exactly what he intends and doesn't hide who he is from anyone, not even his new boss. There's a story that is shared by Jesus about when a man of considerable wealth approaches him and states that he's done everything to be good in God's eyes. He's followed the commandments and doesn't treat anyone else in a poor way. But still he asks, what must I do if I've already done everything else? And Jesus responds to him in an honest and authentic way. He affirms this man has done indeed what he says he's done, and he's followed the commandments. The one thing he lacks is that he should sell his possessions and give them to the poor. After he does that, he should come and follow Jesus. This man is said to have gone away grieving because he had many possessions and would find it difficult to give them up and give them away. Being able to say, I'm happy that you like this, but this isn't my thing, is a good thing to share. Our honesty does not mean trying to dominate, humiliate, or take advantage of anyone, but being authentic is the way we express ourselves so that everyone might know how we're feeling. So the question is, have you ever been truly honest with someone?
Hopefully we have.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have.
I'm honest with Sharon.
Yes.
Does that count?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Beside my therapist, right?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
right. I mean, think about that. I have you ever been truly honest with someone? And I chuckle at Ted and the way that he spits it right out, you know?
And the sparkling water, he
Yeah,
does.
oh, the
Oh.
sparkling-
I'm sorry about your phones.
I know. I thought I saw that.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, when
One
you
of
think,
the things that I think is different about Ted is that a lot of times we're honest because we want to be honest. And we pride ourselves in our honesty. Ted just has this childlike quality that where he's honest without ever thinking about it. I mean, he is what he is. And I think that's really different than what we see a lot of times and how we are a lot of times.
yeah. And I call him a Paul Mall. There's not much filter.
Right.
Yeah, but there's not any real pride either.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows he's good, he's a good coach, but that's just who he is. And it's not like he's vain about that at all. He's really honest with himself about things as well as with everybody around him.
Mhm. Yeah, and that honesty goes a long way. It's very counterculture too, isn't it? Very counterculture. But when
Did you
you,
survive the response is the next question.
right, right. I wonder, like, if Rebecca hadn't had a ulterior motive to hiring him, how long would he have lasted?
Oh.
He
No,
never would have been called.
No,
That
it wouldn't.
really would have been. But, so when you think about being truly honest with someone, what made it easy and what made it difficult?
I think I pick and choose
Mm-hmm.
probably to not, because there's family members that I think, well, don't go there. Just don't go there.
Right.
But when I can, I really do feel that and sometimes I get myself in trouble because I don't use that filter.
Yeah.
I think I'm able to be honest with, and I have a hard time, I mean, yeah. Telling like the bad stuff or when life was incredibly difficult, but people that I can trust, and in particular, my bestest bestie, because she is able to talk to me and listen and sometimes advise, and she's not attached to the outcome. Like, I don't feel like I have to, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, and there's just like no judgment coming from her. But, it's a hard thing for me, cause I do have a neurotic need to have everybody like me, and that's just not gonna happen.
What about
I have-
relief? Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What about relief? I mean, if you have that thing that you're want to be honest about, but you don't do it. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, I'm just gonna lay it all out. And there's that relief of not having to hold it in.
Yeah. And in addition, if I might add, in addition to that relief, it's also the energy you've had to use to spend trying to find a way to communicate around this big thing that's in
Yeah.
play.
Have all that back.
Yeah.
Colin.
So what I was gonna say before, two instances that came to mind where I was honest and it really fractured the relationship. And I thought the relationship was stronger, you know, strong enough to just express my true feelings. In one situation, I was asked, and it was about a political situation. And so I gave my opinion and it led to this long conversation. It's just still really painful to think about it. I mean, these were my firstborn's godparents. And we have occasionally we rub elbows in a social situation, but it's just different. And I think, and the other was a family member, and I think I just misjudged who they really were, as well as the relationship.
Maybe they misjudged you.
Yeah,
You know?
maybe, you know, and I don't feel like I was coming on that strong, you know, when I look back on it. But I don't feel inclined to go back. I mean, I can't process it. Them.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't honest with her. You know, it goes both ways. Because
Yeah, and that's
they
what you
might
just
not have
said.
been, they were playing the part
Right.
of the nice person.
Yeah.
When ulterior, or back in their mind, they were thinking the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, I think especially in the one, they wanted to trap me and get me to agree with them.
Right.
I think. But
That always
anyway, it was
works, doesn't it?
painful, but, you know, I guess with Ted, I mean, he has such a charming way about him. I'm sure I was not nearly as Ted has,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, Ted does have quite a way, and it's some of that almost perceived not being naive or kind of that innocence,
Yeah.
you know.
The
But the
childlike.
thing is that he's really not naive.
I know.
Right.
You know?
But
As
But
as his character develops, you
Yeah.
see that he's
Yeah.
chock full of wisdom.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he already is, you know, sharing some of that wisdom.
He's just got that oh shucks attitude about him and
Thank you very much.
kind of
Appreciate it.
disarming in a way because,
Yeah.
you know, you don't expect him to all of a sudden do something very profound because
Yeah.
it was all shucks a minute ago.
So that brings us to the next part of the show. It's called Being Known. Ted Lasso says, "You continue to impress me, Nate." And Nathan Shelley says, "You remembered my name."
Yeah.
As the kitman, the one who tends to all the equipment of AFC Richmond, Nathan Shelley is on a low rung when it comes to the hierarchy of the football club. He doesn't get to make decisions like the owner and manager. He doesn't get to be cheered and glamorized like the players. He doesn't even get fawned over like the partners and spouses of the players. No, he sits right at the bottom. His responsibilities rest in making sure the uniforms are clean, the boots are in the top shape, and the pitch is well cared for. Because of his low stature in the organization, he's accustomed to not being known. Yet, he is the very first person working for AFC Richmond that Ted and Coach Beard meet. He's not used to being talked to by upper management, nor being treated so kindly and on an equal level. He is so accustomed to his place within the club that he doesn't even know how to respond when Ted asks his name.
Right.
Nate is surprised and begins to be the first to fall into the lasso way, because through Ted, he experiences what everyone desires, to be known. It is good to be known. One of the most important stories of our faith comes in John's Gospel as Mary Magdalene is tending the tomb of her friend and savior. Of course, this is after the resurrection and the tomb is empty. In her grief and pain from the 3 days, she doesn't recognize that Jesus is standing before her and mistakes him for a simple gardener. Jesus knows her, calling her by name. When he says Mary, she instantly knows that this is the one who knows her, with her fear, grief, and loneliness vanishing in an instant. All of creation desires to be known. When you walk into your classroom on the first day of school or start a new job or join a new team, the first thing you want is for someone to know who you are. All of us want that. There isn't a person on the planet who doesn't hope that someone knows who they are. Nate didn't do anything to be remembered by Ted. He is remembered because Nate is important enough and good enough to be remembered, just as we are important enough and good enough to be known by our God and our Lord.
I just want to say that that scene when he asked his name and that man looked at him like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Mhm,
That's when I got hooked.
mhm.
That's when I got the lasso.
In what ways does knowing someone's name help establish a relationship?
It's huge.
It's huge.
I work now at the, Lowe's Foods and, the first 6 months I was learning everybody's drink.
Right.
Okay. Oh, hey, a latte, yes, vanilla, 3 pumps, yes. I know you're lactose intolerant, I got you. But now my quest is to know everybody's name.
That goes with those drinks.
Yes, and and I'm learning,
Mhm.
like I'm starting to say, hey Chuck, how you doing? And hey Jim, and and it is so much fun.
It'll be like the Cheers bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, my your name.
And it is so good, and I'm really trying to work hard at that. And I see, now walking through the store, I'm getting to know the guest, and I go, oh, hi Tom, how you doing? And they're surprised, but they feel a part
Yes.
of Lowe's Foods.
And you see their drink at the same time you see them?
Yeah. Yes, Tom's a refill, okay. Anyway, but it's so important, and I'm really trying to work on that. And when I saw that scene, I thought,
Yep.
yeah, it's really important to know people's things.
I worked with the lady who was the director of admissions at the law school. When we go around and we do go to different law fairs and we meet lots of students. She would talk to everybody and learn things about what their majors were, what the hometown was. And 3 months later, they could come into her office and she said, oh, Mary, I remember you were majoring in this and this is where you're
Oh
from.
my gosh.
And any number of people said, I came to Wake Forest because of Melanie, because she remembered who I was, she knew things about me. And it makes a huge difference. And me, I do the same thing and go to these fairs and they walk away 2 seconds later. I don't remember their name. So, I know. And it's like, oh my gosh, and I have to look at my list of people that it just, it's a gift
It
to be
is.
able to do that.
It's
Mm-hmm.
important.
And you have to concentrate, but she just was easy for her, seemed to be. And
One thing I learned in teaching, and you might have done this too, who's the first person you really need to get to know when you're in, let's say, a middle school?
janitor. Because.
He's always there,
Mhm.
and he has all keys.
Yeah.
And if there's a mess,
You know who to
They
go
got
to.
it.
You call Howard, and Howard comes.
Well, when I was watching the show the other night, and in that scene with Nate and with a couple of other scenes, in terms of his name, and Ted knowing it, and it was, that was the thing that said, Ted is good, Ted cares. And obviously this was not something that Nate had experienced. No one else cared. But to me, that said an awful lot about Ted and his view on other people. And I thought that was really important. And that kind of set up for me an image of what he was going to be like.
Yep,
Mhm.
exactly. How have you been in a situation where someone remembered your name and you did not expect them to?
Yes.
Tell me, Laura, tell me all about it.
Well, this is the embarrassing thing because I do this all of the time. Okay. Our wonderful, wonderful head of the youth programs.
Rebecca?
Yes. See,
there it is.
Yeah.
I saw her someplace a while back. I can't remember where it was. And I looked at her and knew she, she looked real familiar. I mean, I knew who she was, and she called me by name. And I said, "What? You, you knew my name?" And she said, "Yes." And it's like, really? I mean, I was so surprised because I'm not dealing with stuff with the kids and everything. I mean, I was so amazed. I was so impressed. I was so, I felt so appreciative. I don't know. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
somebody knew who I was. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that. I'm just telling you.
We had a new dean that came into the law school, met him at a reception, lots of people there. Next time I saw him, he called me by name. And it wasn't just the next day. I mean, it was like the next week. And he called me by name, and that,
They have a class over there?
And yeah, and I was very impressed with that.
I do think some people are really good with names. Some people aren't. And some of us are just getting really bad about drawing blanks on people. I mean, we know who they are and everything, and they can be one of our best friends, and we just
You're right.
can't do it. So anyway.
Does the profession drive that? A salesperson?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Look at what Sharon was just saying.
Salesperson. Priest or whatever. I mean, you're selling a product in a sense. And, you have to know those things because that's will build the market.
Well, when Sharon was telling her story, I remember Jenny recently told us that she's kind of like a chaplain at Arlo's here.
Yes.
Who?
Sharon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, you were.
The Lowe's right down the street.
Yeah,
Here.
they all know you down there. So they tell me.
Do you know them?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. And there was a time I was getting a salad every day from down there, right? But at the same time, I'm in there and I have this thing on
Right.
and like, it motivates me to be nice. But at the same time, knowing that over 50% of our community don't go to church anymore, if I'm gonna be the only interaction they have with a clergy person, I want them to be
Positive.
Yeah, I want them to know that they are loved and appreciated.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, everybody wants to be seen, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do,
Yeah.
you see people and they feel seen, and that's important, and that's what Ted does all the way through the series, is he sees people and he's able to accept something that they do and kind of frame it in a way that is out of their street. So he can say, this is not something that should be expressed in this way, but it's an expression of a gift that you have. So, I mean, I don't want to get too far into the story, but he's able to do that.
Yeah. And he doesn't do it on the condition that he is seen as well. And I think that is also one of the things that's beautiful. It's like, it's not a quid pro quo. It's just an authentic way of being. I will tell you, I'll add my own wow about remembering names. I went to Camp St. Christopher growing up. It's an Episcopal camp and conference center at Seabrook Island on the coast of South Carolina. And Crabman Jim White was the camp director and had been for like 20 years since the camp opened. And he knew if you were the child of a parent who went to camp there, he knew your parents.
Oh, wow.
Or your parent.
Right.
And that was the case, not in my family, because I was I was too old for that. But when I was a staff member, he did the same thing. He's like, I remember when you came here, it was this session, it was this month, and we had to send you home because it was a hurricane.
Wow.
And he's, how's your brothers? Cause both my brothers were also, yeah. And it wasn't just me, it was everybody. And you think about it, we had thousands of kids.
Yes.
And he remembered all of them.
Mhm.
But after the first day, I know he sat with the list. I know he had some kind of system
Yeah.
in his brain, but man, it was pretty awesome stuff.
And that list gets bigger and bigger over the
Right,
years.
right. Yeah.
My husband was leaving a job at a big corporation and he was senior management. And one of the, administrative type secretaries, whatever, was like, what are we gonna do? He's the one who knew our names. And it was, so it was countercultural there for someone at his level to
Right,
care
to
and
care.
to interact, and it gave me a new appreciation for him to hear that.
Yeah.
Reflected that,
That's beautiful. He knew our names.
our names.
We're gonna scoot along now into the locker room. Ted Lasso says, smells like potential. Am I getting notes of Axe body spray? At his very core, Ted Lasso is a coach. He isn't an American football coach, and he surely isn't a Premier League football coach. He is a coach. Coach Lasso loves to guide, shape, and mold other people so that they can achieve their best in whatever they seek to do well. Ted's calling as a coach rests in the potential he sees not only in the athletes he gets to manage, but in every person with whom he interacts. He has the brilliant ability to not only squeeze out top-level performance in each person under his charge through affirmation and positive reinforcement, but he truly believes that whoever is before him can be better because they are better. He sees potential in the shy Nathan Shelley, the loud Keely Jones, the gruff Roy Kent, and even the arrogantly gifted Jamie Tart. He sees the unbridled potential in each of them that not only will make those athletes better on the pitch, but will allow each of them to see how truly wonderful and gifted they are as humans. As scripture begins with the story of creation, this beautiful story of God creating something out of nothing, separating the waters, light and land, God fills all of creation with stuff, plants, animals, birds, insects, life. God even fashions humanity in God's own image, formed to steward and care for all that has already been created. At the end of each day of creation, God emphatically states that it is good. What has been created is good. The beings, all of them with life and breathed into them, are good, very, very good. God is made known in and through the person of Jesus, the one who directs our attention away from all that draws us from the goodness of that draws our attention away from the goodness of God. Jesus is the one who continues to do so even when we become distracted, because our potential rests in the fact that we are already good in God's eyes. So, didn't know that was in Ted Lasso, did you? What does it mean for you to be known by God? And how much do you see yourself the way that God does, being good enough?
We'll get a visit.
Hello,
Oh, That's-
Haley.
that's actually one of my
Okay,
supervisors. I gave her
welcome, Haley.
calling from Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Hi, welcome. So, what does it mean to be known by God?
That means you have somebody you can count on all the time.
A friend in high places.
Can you hand me the prayer book?
Sure.
How else and what else?
It's just comfort.
I kind of get the known part easier than probably the beloved, acceptable part,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, I guess, you know, the sort of guilt or inadequacy or not good enough part that I carry around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody really knows you, for instance, I can't pull the wool over her eyes no more. No, but think about that in terms of what your question was.
Mm-hmm.
If God really knows who I am, well, I can't trick him.
Mhm.
I know.
You gotta be kidding me. I mean, so the good, the bad, whatever, but Ted saw the good in people and that's what he worked on. So
And I think God's doing that too.
that's my point.
I mean, he sees the good.
Even when we can't see it ourselves.
Right.
You know, that whole, sometimes that very phrase that, and God called it good, is the only thing that keeps me connected sometimes
Mhm.
with people that I have a hard time loving.
Yeah.
He didn't say, yeah, it's okay. It's good.
It's good. They're good. I'm good. We're good. At the very root of it all.
It's someone to thank when you're doing something by yourself and it works out right for you.
Mm-hmm.
I do that with God and my father.
Mm,
I'm trying to put a nut on a bolt and I
mhm.
can't see it, I can't do it. All of a sudden it goes on. I say, thanks, Dad.
There you go. Yep. I like the analogy.
So what is
I've
it?
also found where I was almost in an accident a couple of times and I said, thank you very much.
Right, yeah.
Greater angels there. Yeah, so what does it mean, or what does it mean for you to be known by God?
It means I'm never alone. And that's good.
As someone who grew up in the South, in the church, underneath the label of LGBTQIA, and to have people tell me that I'm a sinner and I'm going to hell and that I'm a mistake,
Mhm.
to know at the very core of my being that I am good and loved
Right.
is how I was able, I think, to keep my wits about me in some of that.
That's understandable.
And to know that even that part of me that they saw to be sinful is actually, I see it as a gift and a part of who God created me to be.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that.
God believes in us.
Yeah.
Like when Ted put the sign up on the wall.
Yes.
Believe.
Been corrected.
But you notice when they corrected it, it was still crooked.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
So,
It was.
yeah.
I knew that.
I, I'll talk fast so I don't get verklempt.
There's
I
those
was-
shoes over there if you need them.
I was, in a relationship for 30 years in which I was frequently told that I was not good.
Mm.
And that every bit of goodness I put out there to the world was only a show. And if people really knew me, and knew the kind of person I was, but through all of that, somehow miraculously, I held on to the belief that I was created by and loved by God, and there was good in there
Mhm.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm still working on that one. but-
Mhm.
Mm.
I know that, my kids often say, Mom, you excuse, some of what some folks do, some yuck that some people do. And they just don't get it, that I'm not excusing it. But I have to keep, even the nuns years and years ago would say, the face of Jesus is in every single person you meet. So even if they are just repulsive and they're whatever, and do awful things, I had to keep coming back to that.
Mhm.
And that's been something I do, but my kids don't understand it. They think I'm just
Yeah.
looking at
Mm.
at these folks in a Pollyannish sort of way. But anyhow, it's,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it also goes for myself, you
Yeah.
know, basically saying, okay, God created me. And I am good, like we were saying, it's, I have to get back to that base.
Doesn't mean we can't be held accountable.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Just because
Absolutely.
we're known and we're good, doesn't mean that we're not sinful. You
Yeah.
know, we all are.
But I mean, I have the hardest time with some political figures right
course.
now.
Yes.
But you know what, though, even, you know, when I really, when I can't, I turn the volume off. If they're on,
Mhm.
you know, a
Yes.
newscast or whatever, I turn the volume off and I sometimes just say to myself, okay, this person is a beloved child of God.
If you can look at him and not hear him, you're good.
Mute is a good,
Well, no,
mute is my friend.
Yes.
But that
Especially
is,
political ads.
but that is so hard. What would Ted Lasso do
Mm.
if he encountered some of these?
He'd say, be curious, less judgmental.
That's right, that's what he would say.
So here's from Psalm
Get off her.
139. Lord, you have searched me out and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You trace my journeys and my resting places and are acquainted with all my ways. Indeed, there is not a word on my lips, but you, O Lord, know it all I know
That is my favorite
Yeah.
Psalm.
It's with Psalm what?
139.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm.
You ready to hear about Rebecca?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I love about that.
The allure of sin. Rebecca says, I want to torture Rupert in a constant loop, like a GIF or a GIF. As we are introduced to Rebecca Welton, the new owner of AFC Richmond, we can tell that there is something deeper and possibly more sinister behind her desire to hire a new manager for her football club. The viewer begins to suspect that there is something more to Rebecca's hiring of this manager, who has never coached this particular brand of football, as the whole world is shocked by her decision. We get to hear and see their surprise shown through a segment of ESPN announcing this new hire, and even through the fan who talks to Ted on the flight that brings him to England. Throughout the episode, we are shown hints of how her ex-husband hurt her and damaged their marriage because he never truly cared about it or even fully loved her as his wife.
Mhm.
Near the end of the episode, she explains her plan to Higgins, her right hand, in her role as owner. And she wants to destroy this club because it will destroy her ex-husband. Beneath her cheery and supportive facade lies a desire and a hunger to hurt someone who has truly hurt her. No matter who she hurts along the way, as long as she enacts revenge, she believes she will have won. Sin has a way of worming into our hearts and lives. Many times sin is lived out because we have the power and the ability to do it. The story of David and Bathsheba is one of those simple stories of sin. King David wants someone for himself as he peers from the roof of Bathsheba. He lusts after her and enacts a plan to have her all to himself, no matter who he hurts along the way. He's going to get what he wants, and no one is going to stop him. And that allure of sin is prominent within our lives. It can and does entice every person within creation. More often than not, we learn to rationalize and justify our sinful desires because we feel we deserve what we seek: power, wealth, lust, revenge, and partly because it can come so easily to us. If it wasn't this easy, it would be wrong, right? I believe our God knows how enticing sin is and how easily we can fall prey to it. So God has committed God's self to turn us away from that which sends us and spirals into spirals of hurt, shame, and pride. Just as we have our friends, family, and community where God works and through to care for us, love us, and guide us away from all that pulls us from our goodness of God. Rebecca has Higgins, Keeley, Ted, and others who will continue to be that guiding light of God shining through them, telling her that there is another way to live. Why do you think sin is so tantalizing for us?
Cause it's easy,
Could you say that again?
because it's easy.
I also think that sometimes society makes you think you're missing something.
Mhm.
So you feel you have to be a part of it, or you gotta try it, or wonder about it, or. And then sometimes it just consumes you, but other times you think, ooh,
Mhm.
Is the grass really greener on the other side of
that's
the
right.
Mhm. It's not really hurting anybody.
Boy, that's a lie.
Well, I'll tell you, tried to tempt Jenny Monday night,
Uh-oh.
and she wouldn't fall for it. She said, "That is not my calling."
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Just as easy as could be. She was like, Jesus in those 40 days. But she said, nope, it's not my calling.
Haley has said, it took me a minute to see this side of Rebecca. At first, I thought she had hired Ted because she was a trailblazer and believed herself. I feel the same way, Haley, absolutely.
Not exactly the question, but there was a moment during episode 1 where I was like, wait a minute, is this Major League gone to soccer? The movie Major League, where they were trying to ruin the team and go to soccer, and I'm like, oh.
No.
It's funny, because when I think, not funny, haha, but when I think of some of the things that I have done that I carry the most regret for, it is when I wasn't being honest and because I was trying to do what I thought someone else wanted me to do. I mean, and I wasn't being true to the God who created me.
Rebecca didn't learn to turn her other, turn her
Yeah.
other cheek. I mean, she's going for the eye, you know?
And then so.
Yeah.
He hurt me and I'm gonna hurt him right back, but.
Right.
Yeah, apparently though, it refers to, that was a repetitive thing on his part.
Exactly.
He was doing it again and again and again and again, so
Exactly.
she still hasn't caught up. She never did.
Oh,
catch
never
up.
will, never will.
Never
But,
would.
you know, when she was let go and realized it was over, that was the big hurt, you know?
Yeah.
She could not fix it, or maybe she realized,
It ain't
I don't
worth
know,
fixing.
yeah.
It was very public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's
wrong,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she also, but a spoiler alert, she had a reason for, if I remember correctly, I think it's in season 1, where she, with her mom, so you look at her family history.
Yeah.
And what she went through in her own family of origin, it was
We don't.
a pattern.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Is that, is it in season
I
1?
believe it's in season 2.
Oh.
Thanks a lot.
Well, just the family of origin.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I'm just
You haven't
messing
gotten
around.
any spoiler.
We all
Yeah.
carry around the history of our
Yeah.
families.
Did she, I guess you could say in the intro, he did his little dance in the middle of the huddle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very enthusiastically. I think she saw that on her computer one time,
Yeah.
didn't she?
Yes,
Yeah.
she did.
I wonder what she was thinking.
That's
At
the
that
guy
point.
that's gonna take the team down. That's the one I want. So far different than the
guy that was there before, he
Yeah.
was a major jerk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when
Or the
he
short
sees
shorts.
Ted
Yes.
dancing, yes. I forgot about that.
Spoiler alert.
That was quite a thing.
Luckily, we didn't see.
It was
Yeah,
so
we didn't see all
picture
that.
like
Yeah, important part of it, we didn't see.
Yeah.
It's up here.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Well, friends, we will continue next Wednesday with episode 2. And if you'd like to watch it ahead of time, you're welcome to join me, on Mondays at 7 o'clock here. Feel free to bring dinner if you wanna bring dinner, or if you wanna bring me dinner. Feel free to-
for you.
I'm just kidding. I will be eaten by that point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm so grateful for your adventurous spirit. And, if you want to see something pretty cool, I think it's pretty cool. You can come to, I have a picture in my office that has all the major characters of Ted Lasso,
Oh,
kind of like an icon of sorts,
Mm.
with all of the words of intention for each of their characters. So if you want to come see it, you can come see it. And, I'll take a picture and share it with y'all next week.
Are you going to skip Holy Week?
No, we're
No.
gonna do Holy Week.
We're gonna do that, let Ted Lasso during Holy Week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso on Monday and then discussion on Wednesday.
Okay.
We don't have a special service except for
okay.
Celtic Eucharist that
Oh,
week.
okay,
Yeah, I've
Good.
cut it in, where we're just doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
okay,
And our Easter egg hunt is the Saturday before. So
good.
we're not slamming it all in.
Right.
All right,
We're going with the Farmer's Almanac.
that's we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one guy,
Hey, let's get ready.
the one guy we didn't talk about was Coach Beard.
I was gonna
I'm
say
sure-
Higgins. We have.
Oh, gotcha.
Higgins.
Yeah.
What about
We'll
Beard,
unpack
man?
them, I'm
I mean,
sure.
There's a
Tell
guy
me
that's-
about Coach, tell
What's
me
that?
about Coach Beard, who,
Yes,
he came over with
him.
Ted
Yeah.
Lasso.
Yeah.
Who, what,
They work
what was
together.
his,
He's like, you would think he's the assistant coach, but he does a lot of the work.
Yeah.
what was his role back in America?
He
He's
Assistant coach.
like an assistant coach.
he was a football coach with Ted.
Yeah.
What is that picture?
I
Yeah.
can't see it well enough. Where,
Oh, wow.
Is that what's in your office?
Wow.
yeah, that's in my office.
Wow.
It's backwards, I know. I give you credit.
Laura, I think that what I got from this is that now Ted Lasso is the manager.
Yeah.
Right,
And then his assistant coach
right.
is now the coach.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No,
not?
he is the head coach, although they call it the manager in
Oh,
the
it's
soccer.
It's not like they
Oh,
saw.
And then-
I didn't know that.
Beard is an assistant manager,
Okay. Okay,
also
just like
coach.
they-
Thank you
Yeah,
for
But there
explaining
were
that.
times when I wondered who really was in charge
it's Ted,
because of the relationship.
it's Ted. But Ted couldn't be, he needs his teammate, and we'll hear more about
Yeah.
that too. Yeah,
Well, it's like one guy is in charge of the logistics, Coach Beard. The other guy is in charge of all of the ideas and
Yeah.
concepts. And it's a perfect setup. It's no better than that. But there's a guy jumped on a plane and went with somebody.
I know.
I think
We
he
gotta
was,
really-
I think he was more brave than
I think
Lasso.
so too, right?
Are we crazy? Yeah, we're
Yeah,
crazy.
we're crazy. Friends, thank you so much for gathering. I'll see you soon. Take care. God bless.
God bless
And,
you.
we'll see you
Thanks
next
a lot.
All right.
okay, bye.